After 35 years of showing up to the same job every morning, I suddenly had nowhere to go. I thought retirement meant my purpose was over. What I discovered instead changed the rest of my life.
Welcome back to God Showed Up Stories. Tonight's story is for anyone who has ever experienced a season of life ending before they were ready. The people who spent years building something meaningful. A career. A routine. A purpose. An identity. Only to wake up one day and realize everything had changed. Maybe you've retired. Maybe you've lost a job. Maybe your children have grown up and moved away. Maybe you're standing in a season you never expected to enter. And if you've ever wondered whether your best years are behind you, this story is for you. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. And comment below. Have you ever discovered a blessing hidden inside an ending? Never forget this. Sometimes the chapter we fear the most becomes the chapter that changes everything. All right, let's get into tonight's story.
For more than 35 years, my mornings looked almost exactly the same. The alarm would ring, coffee would brew. I'd get dressed, grab my keys, and head out the door. It wasn't just a job. It was my routine, my community, my purpose. The people I worked with had become like family over the years. I knew everyone's birthdays, their children, their struggles, their victories. I loved feeling useful, needed, connected. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. The company announced a major restructuring. Several positions were being eliminated. Mine was one of them. I remember sitting there in disbelief as the details were explained. The room felt smaller. The voices sounded distant. My heart sank. Within a few weeks, I packed up 35 years of memories into a few cardboard boxes and walked out of the building for the last time. Everyone hugged me. Everyone wished me well. Everyone kept saying the same thing: enjoy retirement. I smiled and thanked them. But inside, I felt something very different. Lost. The first few weeks felt almost like a vacation. I slept in, read books, caught up on things around the house. But eventually, the silence began to settle in. The days felt longer. The house felt quieter. I would wake up and realize there was nowhere I needed to be. No meetings, no coworkers, no responsibilities waiting for me. At first, that sounded relaxing. Eventually, it felt lonely. For the first time in decades, I started asking myself a question I didn't know how to answer. Who am I now? Without my job, I felt like part of my identity had disappeared. Friends encouraged me to enjoy my freedom. Family reminded me I had earned this season, but they couldn't see what was happening inside. I wasn't just grieving a career. I was grieving a version of myself. Months passed, and although I continued attending church and spending time with family, something still felt missing. Then one rainy afternoon, while cleaning out old boxes in the basement, I stumbled across a stack of journals I hadn't opened in decades. Curious, I sat down on the floor and started flipping through them. Page after page revealed dreams I had completely forgotten. Ideas, goals, passions, plans. There were notes about writing, teaching, volunteering, traveling, helping people in ways that had nothing to do with my career. I smiled, then I cried, because I realized how many of those dreams had quietly been placed on a shelf while life became busy. Work, bills, responsibilities, family obligations. None of those choices were wrong. But somewhere along the way, I had forgotten pieces of myself. The discovery stayed with me for days, then weeks. Still, I wasn't sure what to do next. One Saturday morning, I saw a flyer for a community event focused on people navigating major life transitions. Honestly, I almost didn't go. I came up with every excuse imaginable. I won't know anyone. I'll feel awkward. What's the point? But something nudged me to attend. So I went. At first, I stood quietly near the back of the room. People chatted in small groups, laughed, shared stories. Then I met another retired woman. We sat together over coffee and talked for nearly an hour. At one point, she said something I'll never forget. She smiled and said, "When I retired, I thought I had lost my purpose. What I actually lost was my schedule. My purpose was still there, waiting for me." Those words hit me deeply because she understood exactly what I had been feeling. She explained how retirement had eventually opened doors she never expected. New friendships, volunteer opportunities, creative passions, ways to serve others. A completely different chapter of life. Not better, not worse, just different. As I drove home that afternoon, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not because all my questions were answered, but because maybe this wasn't the end of my story. Maybe it was the beginning of a new chapter I simply hadn't recognized yet. And for the first time in months, I found myself genuinely looking forward to tomorrow.
If this story touched your heart today, comment below. God is not finished with me yet. And if you're entering a new season of life, remember this. Your purpose does not retire. Your calling does not expire. And God's plans for your life do not end simply because one chapter closes. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. Thank you for spending this time with God Showed Up Stories. And always remember, God always shows up right on time.